In the United States, we're often brought up and told we don't have propaganda, that we have a hard-charging investigative press, we have this educated, skeptical, even cynical citizenry, and that if there were powerful interests trying to manage and manipulate public opinion, they would be exposed.
Good morning, everyone. It's January 9th, 2020. I'm Eric. Have you ever heard of the term psychographics? Well, neither have I must admit. But this is a term we should know. Psychographics is a methodology which focuses on consumer psychological attributes. Research firms attempt to develop a psychographic profile on various segments of the population by studying personality, opinions, interests, attitudes, values, and behaviors. Just like, say, a profiler might come up with a profile on a individual who is committing any type of serial offenses. But instead of studying the individual, this studies and profiles large segments of the population. This one comes from, or is posted on Zero Hedge, but it comes from Derek Braz via The Mind Unleashed. New Cambridge Analytica leaks reveal psychological manipulation of the global population. On New Year's Day 2020, Twitter account @HindsightFiles began posting documents from data firm Cambridge Analytica, or CA, which exposed the extensive infrastructure used to manipulate voters on a global scale. So, this idea that the voters of this world are out there thinking for themselves and digging up facts and voting based on logic, it's not true. Everyone is manipulated. Everyone. Everyone who can be, anyway. More than 100,000 documents are set to be released in the coming months, revealing Cambridge Analytica's activities in a shocking 68 countries, including elections in Malaysia, Kenya, and Brazil. And, we keep hearing about Russian meddling in elections. Yeah. The Guardian reported that the documents come from Brittany Kaiser, a former employee of Cambridge Analytica who turned whistleblower and star of the documentary The Great Hack, which they talk about how they're hacking the minds of the people. She says to The Guardian, or said to The Guardian, "I am very fearful about what is going to happen in the U.S. election later this year, and I think one of the few ways of protecting ourselves is to get as much information out there as possible." The latest whistleblower has said the dumps will contain previously unreleased emails, project plans, case studies, and negotiations. The Hindsight Files Twitter account has posted data on the relationship between Cambridge Analytica and John Bolton, former National Security Advisor, to the Trump administration. In 2013, the John Bolton Super PAC paid Cambridge Analytica $650,000 for voter data analysis and digital video ad targeting. The documents provide more details on that relationship, including using psychographics to play on voters' hopes and fears. You might recall Cambridge Analytica first made headlines following the 2016 election after it was revealed the company had gained access to 87 million Facebook profiles. Whistleblower Christopher Wiley exposed how he helped set up CA, Cambridge Analytica, and obtained the data of millions of Americans. And this is when the public began to understand the scope of Cambridge Analytica's operations. In 2015, UK-based political consulting firm worked on behalf of Ted Cruz's campaign to help him win the 2016 Republican nomination. A lot of good that did. Cambridge Analytica was also involved in campaigns to promote Brexit, as well as promoting the 2016 Trump presidential campaign. Donald Trump would eventually hire Stephen Bannon as the chief strategist for his White House. Bannon, get this, previously served as Cambridge Analytica's vice president and was the executive chairman of Breitbart News. And there's more. Lots more. What do you think so far? Do you think that the world population, maybe, possibly, probably, has been duped? Could that be? Could it be that the world population is so dumbed down that they fall for all manner of manipulation? I'm not trying to say that I'm above being manipulated. You get me a beautiful woman sitting in front of me with nice legs and other attributes, I may get manipulated by that woman. True enough. But I'm not going to fall for any of this political bullshit. It was through Bannon that whistleblower Christopher Wiley and Cambridge Analytica CEO Alexander Nix came to know billionaire Robert Mercer. Bannon arranged for Mercer to invest $5 million into the creation of Cambridge Analytica. Mercer wanted to work with the group to influence the U.S. elections. When the public became aware of the manipulation by CA, Bannon denied having any knowledge of the scheme. Wiley, however, said Cambridge Analytica was Bannon's psychological warfare mindfuck. Now, Cambridge Analytica itself is a web of shadowy companies invested in behavioral researching and influencing mass behavior. Cambridge was born out of the Strategic Communications Laboratory, or SCL, founded by Nigel Oakes and Alexander Nix. SCL claimed to have an expertise in psychological operations and worked as part of military and political operations around the world. Now, do we need to cover this whole thing? I don't think so, because it's this next these next two sentences says it all. In quotes, We use the same techniques as Aristotle and Hitler. We appeal to people on an emotional level to get them to agree on a functional level. There's your consent. Now, let me ask you something. Are you truly giving your consent if you're being manipulated? Is that true, actual consent? I don't think so. I don't think it is. But there's some more down here. Because a lot of people have the impression that Cambridge Analytica closed its doors, shut down. But the executives of Cambridge Analytica set up a new company in 2017 called Emerdata Limited. Emerdata Limited. And they will be busy, have been busy since 2017, gaining more and more insight on the voters of this world. Now, another connection here is Rebecca Mercer. She is the daughter of the billionaire Robert Mercer, and the Mercer family has been a consistent supporter of President Trump. And I'm guessing all the right-wing sycophants out there will completely ignore this. The latest leaks from Cambridge Analytica seem poised to expose more lurid details of the inner workings of the disturbing relationship between big data and political operatives. Yep. Alt Market's Brandon Smith, whose articles I cover on a fairly regular basis, suggests that data mining through social media is more useful for identifying current and future trends than it is for manipulating large groups of people to vote in a certain way. And I have to disagree with him on that, whereas I do usually agree with Brandon Smith. When the globalists control both candidates in an election, they don't necessarily need to manipulate the vote. Well, they need to get the voters out there. That's where that manipulation comes in. By exploiting individual web data, that elites might also be able to sway a certain smaller percentage of a vote one way or the other. Even just 5 or 10% of a vote could determine the outcome of an election. The bottom line, elections are meaningless. Changes to government are never achieved through voting. It's time for people to finally accept this fact and start implementing other measures. You see, all this shit we're taught in school about democracy is just that. It's shit. And this is why I keep telling you, democracy is shit. Republicanism is shit. Socialism is shit. Communism is shit. All governments are shit. All these political ideologies, they are shit. and little else. Tell me what you think. Am I wrong? I don't think so. I don't think I am wrong. I think everybody else is wrong, and I'm right. Anyway, there's some more stuff to cover, but I'll do that in a completely separate video. Until next time, kill the state, live free.